Welcome to the Hodgy Podgy Podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Strati, and today is one of our Menagerie Mondays. In this episode, we will be talking about music videos from the 90s, and there are a million of them. I swear, that was the decade for so many different genres to come out with so many different music videos that a lot of us still remember to this day. The list of them is insane. Mariah Carey alone had 13 music videos in the 90s. 13. Just this one person had 13 music videos in that decade. So Aerosmith had multiple music videos. The amount is insane. So I had to employ ChatGPT to help me out with this so I didn't lose my ever-loving mind. And I asked it to give me different ones for different genres throughout the decade. So it helped me narrow down my research a bit. So we will be starting with the classic from Nirvana, Smells Like Teen Spirit. That one, if you don't remember, and as always, you can go back to YouTube and watch these music videos for free to refresh your memory about what they were about. Smells Like Teen Spirit, they were in this gym. It was like foggy and grungy and smoky and just dimly lit. And it's like they're performing this concert in front of this school. And the farther along it goes into the song, the more chaos that erupts. And the more looks like teen rebellion and total destruction erupts in the music video. So if you don't know, Nirvana, the lead singer of Nirvana was Kurt Cobain. He was the one who wrote the song. The original, I had no idea. And obviously with this song, unless you really were a big fan of Nirvana or you did the research, you're not really going to know much about where the title of the song came from. But it was created because somebody wrote on Kurt Cobain's motel wall, "Kurt smells like teen spirit," because his girlfriend at the time used to wear the deodorant Teen Spirit, and the person who wrote it on the wall joked that her smell had like rubbed off on him, and that was the smell of her deodorant. And he didn't even know until weeks later, after the song was made and written and everything, that was the actual meaning. He thought it meant something completely different. It was like a revolutionary slogan. And he actually asked them for permission to use that title before he even knew what it meant. Then he realized down the road that it was talking about deodorant. So, and to this day, people still don't completely know the meaning of that song. If you remember, you can pretty much make up your own words to the song if you don't understand them. Like, he talks about being a mosquito and na 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 na, a mosquito, do 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 do, a potato, yeah. You have no idea what he is saying. But he said that he changed the meaning of the song a few different times. He said it's supposed to be about my friends and I, the band. We feel as if we're teenagers because we don't follow guidelines of what's expected of us as adults. It's a kind of revolutionary teen theme song. And he wanted it to be this kind of pop teen anthem. But the more interviews he did, the more he changed what the meaning was. So what it actually truly meant, we don't know. But he got the song title from somebody writing "Kurt smells like teen spirit" on his motel room wall. I thought that was really interesting. But MTV actually took a chance airing this music video. They had no ties to this band at all. They had no history with Nirvana at all. So a rookie who had recently joined the music programming department of MTV really rallied for them and really rallied for the music video to air on MTV. And she won, and it aired, and it was on heavy rotation and really boosted the popularity of this song. The song was popular and people liked it, but once they saw the music video, teenagers especially really liked it and really liked the absolute chaos and they loved Kurt Cobain. So I had no idea that that was the case at all. But while shooting the music video, they weren't actors. There was a flyer sent out saying Nirvana needs you. You should be 18 to 25 years old and adopt a high school persona, like a preppy punk nerd jock. And you should be prepared to be on this set for a while. So they had a bunch of kids and young adults that weren't professional actors on this set that apparently didn't understand that you should be prepared to be here for a while meant hours and hours, not just 30 minutes. So they ended up being there for over 12 hours. They weren't happy about it. Kurt Cobain wasn't happy about it, but it actually worked in the music video's favor because the longer they went, the more angry he got, the more chaos there was. And that led to his amazing performance in the music video. And then he told the director, you know what, they've been here for so long, let's just have the video erupt into total chaos and have these kids destroy the set. So when they're actually in the music video, you see it going from kind of a normal performance to then chaos and destruction. They're literally destroying the set. And it really made an impact and really had teens connecting to this song. They thought like, oh, that was amazing to just have this total destruction and chaos. They just absolutely loved it. These kids weren't from central casting or anything. Like they were just regular kids, and the destruction and rebellion at the end of the video was completely real. So I thought that was really interesting because you just think that it's all acting, and the way that you see the video, you think it's just extras, but they're actually just real kids that they pulled off from the street. So, and Dave Grohl, if you don't remember, Dave Grohl from the Foo Fighters was the drummer of Nirvana. And I knew that, but I forgot that fact until I was doing this research. He said that people heard the song on the radio and thought, this is great. But then kids saw the video on MTV and thought, this is cool. These guys are kind of ugly and they're tearing up an effing high school. I think that has a lot to do with its success. So that smells like Teen Spirit. If you don't remember anything about that video, again, go onto YouTube and watch it. And then if you want to have some fun, you can make up your own lyrics like I did. I won't bother you guys with what I made up. But it's like you can, if you're really feeling like you want to get into a mood, just na 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 na, a mosquito, da da da, and just make up your own words, because that's pretty much the same as what is going on in the song anyway. So the next music video, I remember these music videos with Alicia Silverstone, and she was the queen of music videos at the time, starring in 3 Aerosmith music videos. Do you guys remember the multiple music videos with Alicia Silverstone before she started doing Clueless? There was, the first one she was in was Aerosmith's Cryin, and that was in 1993. She was 16. And the music video was about this girl that catches her boyfriend cheating on her at a movie theater. And so she pretends that everything's all fine and then is driving and drives with him to the middle of nowhere, acts like she's going to kiss him and everything, then stops, punches him in the face, and pushes him out of the car, then drives away. So it was her. They say that video was the first collaboration with Aerosmith, which often is credited for launching her into stardom, because that video was hugely popular and girls and guys were really, really drawn to that rebellious personality that she showed on that music video. They resonated really strongly with her, and they named her the Aerosmith Chick. And then she went to star in 2 more Aerosmith videos, Amazing and Crazy. I remember Crazy more than Amazing because Crazy was with Liv Tyler, who is Steven Tyler's daughter in real life. And I thought that was cool that he was able to have his daughter in this music video with Alicia. So that I always remember that as well. But she was only 16 and 17 in these music videos. And that music video was a huge, huge hit for Aerosmith. It won Video of the Year in 1994 at the MTV Video Music Awards. Then it helped solidify Aerosmith's status as rock legends in the 90s. Like, that was like their comeback, was that album and those music videos. Then, if you know the actor Steven Dorff, he was in Blade, and he's been in a bunch of different things since then. I can't remember what he's been in recently. But he was the actor that had played her boyfriend that cheated on her. And his character's betrayal was a major plot point in the video because she was really, really pissed off that he had cheated on her. And so she goes all nuts and rebellious, and she had a tattoo in the video of a heart, like half a heart, and then he had the other heart. And so you see her getting that tattooed over with like this even bigger tattoo, and then she's getting her belly button pierced. And then she's at this diner where she sees this guy who was Josh Holloway from Lost. That was the guy that she's like staring at, and it looks like she's like they're flirting with each other. And then he goes and takes her backpack and takes off, and she's basically like, F this, I've been screwed by enough guys and hurt by enough guys. I'm not having this happen. So she takes off after him and just hauls it and just kicks him to the ground and kicks him again, and then takes her bag and swears at him and walks away. And it showed, I remember watching that video and thinking, this chick is a badass. Like, I want to be like her. She's not taking anything from anybody, and that is awesome. And so, of course, when the other music videos came with her in them, I wanted to see them. I remember just thinking, like, she is really, really cool. Then I was reading more about it. The belly button piercing sparked a trend. I was too young at the time to get a belly button piercing, but I remember wanting it when I was younger. And then I eventually did get one. But she also did her own stunt. So at the end of the music video, you see her standing on top of a bridge, and there's police. And then the boyfriend's like, come on, just come down. Just stop this. Come down. And she's just standing there. And then you see her jump. And you don't see any rope or anything at the time. You just see her falling. And you think, oh my gosh, like she's ending it. And that was actually shot on what's called Suicide Bridge. And that was filmed at Pasadena, Colorado Street Bridge, often referred to as, like I said, that bridge, due to its history of people doing that. So, but she actually performed her own stunt with the bungee cord. You see at the end that she's attached to a cord, but she actually did that to herself. She did that herself and was doing her own stunts in that, which I didn't realize, but because that looked real scary and real, like, not very secure at all. So that's pretty impressive that she was brave enough at 16 to do that. But it helped, that music video really helped make Aerosmith ballads a thing. Like, there was Cryin, and like I said, Amazing, Crazy, then Don't Want to Miss a Thing, which also had Liv Tyler in it. But those really, this music video restarted Aerosmith's career and solidified them as like Hall of Fame rock stars. So I thought that was really interesting that this 16-year-old girl really just, her attitude and rebellious nature and strong attitude in these music videos helped this band of older men, which sounds weird when you say it, but the 16-year-old like really helped them become successful because of how she was in these music videos and how popular she became, which then drew more people to watch their songs. And it was really impressive that this 16-year-old girl could do that. So that is Aerosmith. I can go into a whole thing about them alone. But we're going to jump to some hip hop R&B, and that's going to be TLC's Waterfalls. Like I said, there are so many different songs and artists that I could have gone with, but this one, I remember watching this and the technology that they used back then. And I remember being drawn to it and hearing the lyrics and watching that music video, seeing how dramatic it was paired with the lyrics. So if you don't remember what Waterfalls was about, it starts off, the lyrics, it's basically what the lyrics say. It's one of those where symbolism's not too hard. Even my brain could figure it out. It was pretty cut and dry. There was this mom is trying to get her teen son to not go out and deal drugs and become a part of this gang. Like, she feels in her, you could tell that she knows that he's not going to come back one day, and he ends up getting shot, getting killed in this deal gone bad. And you just see her, like, her spirit standing with him, crying, like, that, begging him to not go, because she tried to, like, warn him not to do this. And then it switches to this guy and this woman. And again, the lyrics, you're following along with the lyrics. The lyrics are explaining what's happening in the music video. It's one of, like, the few literal music videos that I can remember that I'm not trying to, like, decode. But it's this guy and he's with this woman, and they're not using protection, and it's talking about how he ends up getting HIV from her, and then he passes away. So it was absolutely one of the most iconic and impactful videos, and it says of all time. It has a rich history and plenty of fascinating facts about it. So it really addressed strong, serious social issues, like I said, with the drug addiction and dealing, and then the HIV. It was one of the first mainstream pop songs to really confront something like that. You didn't really see that back in the 90s, and that was in 1995. So it really amplified those themes with the visual storytelling, because like I said, it showed those things happening. It wasn't just some sort of weird symbolism. It actually showed them happening. And then there was the water effect. So the beginning of the video shows them, like, basically becoming water and then solidifying into themselves. And they appeared like ghostly water figures dancing on a shimmering sea. And these special effects were revolutionary for the time and made the video, like, the video is really visually stunning when you see it. It's, even now, it's still one of my favorite music videos because of how it looks. And I just remember how cool it was seeing them become like these water, like, beings. So it was also TLC's biggest hit. It was absolutely huge. It earned 2 Grammy nominations, and it topped the Billboard 100 for 7 weeks. And it still remains one of their most celebrated tracks and has been praised for its message and production. So it also won 4 VMAs, MTV Music Video Awards, including Video of the Year, making TLC the first African-American group to win that honor. So I thought that was really interesting, and I think it was well deserved. That music video was great. But apparently Lisa Left Eye Lopez's rap, she always, like, rapped a little bit in the songs. They almost didn't include that in the song. The group had to convince the producers to include it, but in the end it ended up being, like, one of the most memorable parts in the music video. So then also the waterfalls, it says the waterfalls has deeper meaning. The waterfall in the song symbolize chasing unobtainable or dangerous desires. So trying to make money by dealing drugs to people in a dangerous neighborhood, or like sleeping with somebody when you don't know their history and like being unprotected. So it was a poignant metaphor that resonated deeply with audiences because you're taking all these unnecessary risks and it's not going to pay off for you. So they wanted to make that really clear, like be careful chasing waterfalls and don't stray too far from what you're used to, because those waterfalls, you're going to fall over that waterfall and you're not going to make it. So then also what I found was interesting is they almost quit during filming because filming in that water for so long was really difficult. So they admitted that they nearly walked off the set because of the conditions, but the end result ended up being completely worth it. So also their fashion, of course, TLC's fashion was huge. They were futuristic / streetwear, and it just became super iconic for the group. It was definitely one of those songs that I remember seeing it at my sister's. I remember different places where that would come up because I would always stop and watch that music video and just remember the lyrics to it. So that was definitely one of those. Let me know if you remember it as clearly as I did. I loved rewatching that one today. Before I started, I wanted to make sure that I had clear vision of all these music videos, so I rewatched them before I started recording this. The next one, though, was from Mariah Carey and Boyz II Men. Like I said, Mariah Carey, she had 14 number one hits in the 90s. 14. And 13 music videos in the 90s. Like, that woman, I can do like multiple podcast episodes on her alone. Her talent is absolutely insane. I remember seeing her in the Fantasy video with her on the roller skates and at the, riding the roller coaster, just completely fascinated with her and just wanted to be her and have her talent and her beauty. Like, she was just stunning and she had so much talent, but I had no idea. 13 music videos in one decade with the 14 number one hits. Like, that is crazy. But this video was the top number one video that she had. It spent 16 consecutive weeks at number one on the Billboard 100. And that was her song that she did with Boyz II Men, One Sweet Day. And that music video wasn't a traditional music video because of all the scheduling conflict that they had. Like, they were both very, very popular during that time. So they were able to come together and write that song in one day, and then they recorded it at the studio and just did this kind of raw music video where you just see them recording it and spending time together and figuring out all of that stuff, and it actually ended up working really, really well. But the song itself was, if you listen to it, you can figure that out. It was inspired by loss. Mariah and Boyz II Men wrote the song about losing loved ones. She was inspired by the death of David Cole from CNC Music Factory. And then Boyz II Men drew from their experience losing their road manager to a tragic shooting. So I remember watching that music video and seeing these powerhouses come together, and I was just enthralled and absolutely loved it. It touched my heart even as a kid, that you knew that song had deep meaning and was going to have deep meaning for people. And it's still one of the best selling singles of all time. Millions of copies sold worldwide. It's also referred to as it's often called the ultimate funeral song, which I didn't know that, because of the heartfelt lyrics and the universal message of loss and trying not to take people for granted. But it was that music video scene, because I absolutely loved Boyz II Men and I loved Mariah Carey. So seeing those two together, I remember the first time, just when it premiered and I saw her and I saw them and they were together, I was just starstruck, basically. But It was released in 1995. It still continues to be one of the most celebrated for its beautiful message, though, and its extraordinary vocal performance. Because if you seriously go and watch the video, their voices are absolutely phenomenal, and the way that they meld together for this song is just, it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So, but even though it didn't have its traditional music video, its emotional studio session and the footage was unparalleled and made such an impact that it was still one of those, like I said, I still remember it to this day. So it didn't really need an actual video itself. I think the way that worked out was just perfect. So let me know what you think about that song, if that is one of those that when you hear it, especially like if you've lost somebody, hearing that song now, if it kind of tugs at your heartstrings a little bit, hearing that. So that, again, it's one of my favorites. Then we're moving on to like this whole section of that I'm moving into. We again could do a whole episode on the teen pop explosion with Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera, Backstreet Boys, NSYNC, 98 Degrees. Mandy Moore. We can do a whole series just on that alone. But we're going to go with the queen herself, Britney Spears. I was so jealous of her. So jealous. I remember junior high. I would have been in junior high. Probably. Junior high. And I remember my boyfriend and I talking on the phone after school, and I would always turn on MTV after school, and we were watching it together while on the phone, and I could tell that he thought that she was pretty. I was like, it made me so jealous that he thought that this Britney Spears chick was, that I remember from, did like Mickey Mouse Club. I was like, I recognized her. I was like, she's from Mickey Mouse Club. But I remember being really, really jealous of her and absolutely wanting to be able to do everything she did in her first video, Baby One More Time. And just, it was just iconic. That music video will be burned into everybody that was my age at the time, burned into their brains forever. It was classic. She actually came up with the idea herself of this music video. So it has her in class in a schoolgirl uniform. Everybody obviously is in their uniforms, and she's just waiting for the clock to strike 3, and it does. And then everybody heads out into the halls, and she starts singing and then dancing with her classic schoolgirl uniform and everything. And so she's got these dancers, and she's singing about how she hit me baby one more time, my loneliness is killing me now, don't you know I still believe. Like, she just wants this guy back. But it goes through different stages. So she's dancing in the hallway, and then she's doing gymnastics surrounded by guys and still dancing. Then she's in this gym holding this basketball, watching this guy that she looks like longingly at, like she wishes that she like could have another chance with him. And then she's dancing in the gym with a bunch of people. So I had no idea that was completely her idea. The original idea from the director was to do a futuristic space themed video where she would land on Mars in a spaceship and break out into a dance routine. I imagine that us being Gen Xers and millennials who watched this video a million times, imagine it being her landing on Mars and just dancing around. Like, could you, like, that would be so strange and feel so wrong. She knew it. She went with her gut, and you got to give her props for she was 16 at the time. And she did not like that concept. She felt it was cheesy and it wasn't relatable to her audience. And so she pitched the idea of the school setting with students bored in class and featured a playful attitude with the now iconic Catholic school uniform. She suggested tying up the shirts to give the look more of an edge, which definitely did, which aligned better with her vision of appealing to her age group. And so the director eventually agreed, and it resulted in that video that is iconic and we all know and love to this day. So it was actually shot in a real school, and it was shot at Venice High School, which is also used in the movie Grease. So I thought that was a fun little fact that it was the same school. And it was, even though it was legendary, it was low budget. It only cost about $500,000 to make, but it became one of the most influential pop videos ever. Obviously, like I've said, it is one of those that we will always, people from my generation will always remember that music video. And when I was thinking about it and I was trying to remember everything I knew about the video, I remember thinking, like, that guy that she's looking longingly at, like, wasn't that her cousin? And it was actually her cousin. So in the gymnasium scene, when she's sitting there with the basketball and she's looking at this guy, many fans initially thought the player was a love interest, which technically, if you look at it and the lyrics, it's a love interest, but it's just being played by her cousin, which is like ick, but they did that because she was 16 and her team decided she needed to have somebody she was comfortable with on set. So it was her. Apparently they decided to use her cousin to avoid any awkwardness during filming because she was so young, and it was her first time doing a music video. But still, kind of weird that she's looking longingly at her cousin. But I get it. It was for comfort and safety, and that's totally fine. I understand that. Then we can't talk about pop sensations without talking about NSYNC. And one of the music videos, it was really hard for me to decide. So again, I let chat decide for me because otherwise I would just drown in my indecisiveness. So chat decided that we were going to talk about Tearin Up My Heart. And that one was their second music video. Their first one was Want You Back. And I watched that today as well, and I completely forgot how that one was outer space, which I thought was interesting. Britney Spears' director wanted hers to be outer space, but NSYNC's first video was outer space instead. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But they actually just filmed it in a warehouse. And so they could show their choreography and their crazy dance abilities. And it helped launch their US career because they were pretty popular in Europe, but doing this music video really helped launch their career because of how much choreography, like it showed their personalities rather than like all these huge elaborate sets. It's just them dancing. It's just them goofing around. Like they're eating pizza. They're, getting their hair fixed. It's just them being guys in white tank tops, just dancing around, showing how skilled they are with their singing and their dancing. But even the white tank top, the styling of that and the jeans became iconic and contributed to their everyday man appeal. Their everyman appeal, and it's a look that is still remembered as a quintessential 90s boy band fashion. So yeah, you gotta have the tank top and the jeans, and then some sort of chain, and then a tattoo. It's gotta be some sort of tribal tattoo or something like that, or a cross, But it was the choreography itself. Again, do yourself a favor and go back and watch these music videos. It's YouTube, it's free, and it's fun. It makes you relive those times in your life. And it was fun. I had a good time watching them. So I suggest that you go back and watch them as well. But the intense dance moves, they became a hallmark of NSYNC's performances. You couldn't do any of these upbeat songs without performing those dance moves. So fans often credit this video for setting the standard for synchronized boy band dancing. I thought that was interesting. But Another fun fact, which I did not realize, is that song, Tearin Up My Heart, was originally supposed to go to the Backstreet Boys. Could you imagine the Backstreet Boys singing that song? But they were too busy at the time and they didn't have time to record it. So NSYNC ended up doing it. That would have just been... And I don't know if the Backstreet Boys have ever tried to sing that in any sort of their reunion things or whatever, but I just can't imagine the Backstreet Boys singing that. That would have been really, really strange. So, but despite not reaching number one on the charts, the song is still one of the most beloved by fans and often included in their greatest hit compilation. It's considered a defining track of the late 90s pop era. For sure. It's on my Spotify list. My son absolutely loves the song. It's a classic NSYNC boy band pop song. You can't think of 90s pop without having that pop into your head. It was an absolute classic. So, but like I said, the music video, they filmed it in a warehouse. Their schedule was really tight. They were absolutely exhausted from doing all their touring in the US and Europe. So they did their best to stay professional and get this music video done. And thankfully, due to MTV, it really, having them air this video so much on MTV, it really boosted its popularity. The video received heavy rotation on TRL, Total Request Live, and fans constantly requested it. I remember every day after school, running home, immediately turning on the TV to MTV and watching TRL with Carson Daly. I wanted to make sure that Hanson was on there and that Britney was on there, Christina, and then there was sometimes Nickelback or Avril, and then of course NSYNC was on there. But playing that so much definitely helped catapult NSYNC into their superstardom, because without MTV doing that, I mean, who knows where any of these artists would be nowadays without MTV. But I really thought that really brought back a good memory of my childhood, watching, just rushing home, immediately putting on TRL, just fingers crossed that whoever I loved that week was number one that day. And it was one of those favorite things I love to do instead of doing my homework. But the success of Tearin Up My Heart contributed to the growing rivalry between NSYNC and Backstreet Boys. And I know that we tend to forget, I feel like there was so many other boy bands. There was, like I said, 98 Degrees. There was all these other ones. There's O-Town. That was one of the ones that I remember listening to. And they all had this rivalry, but the big one was, of course, who's better, NSYNC or Backstreet Boys. I listened to both of them. I listened to the Backstreet Boys, though, more when I was sad. And then NSYNC when I was, like, happy and things were good. But Backstreet Boys for, like, my heartbreak songs when I was sad about a guy. And then NSYNC was when I wanted to dance around and be happy. Both bands were plastered on my wall. Multiple posters from Teen Beat and all those other magazines. I had Hanson, I had NSYNC, 98 Degrees, Backstreet Boys. My mom joked that if, like, there was ever a fire in the house, my room would be the first to go up in flames because there's so many posters, which is probably true. I mean, my walls were literally covered in all those boy bands and all those groups, but I didn't care because I loved them all and I wished that I could be with them. So anyway, let me know if you also covered your walls with posters like that, or if I can't be the only one. I know I'm not the only one. I know I'm not. So please make me feel better and let me know whether you were a girl or a guy that you at least had some sort of posters of music people on your walls, so I'm not the only crazy out there. But those are the videos that I'm going to talk about for now. Like I said, there were so many other ones. Britney did numerous ones. NSYNC, like I said, Want You Back was their first one. There was, of course, Backstreet Boys that had theirs. There were Tom Petty, so many other rock and roll ones that came out during that time. It's just, my mind goes, there's so many that my mind just goes blank when I try and think of all the, Alanis Morissette, those like her music videos. Jewel was another one. There's so many different ones. That Soundgarden was one of them that chat listed to do. There were different, obviously Scrubs from TLC. So many music videos that are just iconic and we remember so clear to this day. But I will go into those later down the road. If you guys want me to revisit the music video series, I will absolutely do that. Let me know if you like learning about all these blasts from the past. So I like this stuff. Like I said, I had no idea Britney Spears' music video could have been completely different if she didn't stand up for herself and make sure that her vision was realized. I had no idea about Nirvana's The Smell of Teen Spirit, how that title came to be. But, so we're going to wrap that part up. And so we're going to get into some Mandela effects. Excuse me. Sorry. But one of the Mandela effects is people recall Britney wearing a plaid skirt in her music video instead of the black skirt that she wore. And so people are saying it's a false memory, widely discussed online, as the outfit was one of the most recognizable in pop culture history. So I am trying to remember. I feel like I remember it being plaid, like a darker red and black plaid skirt. But then when I look at the video, I'm like, but black looks right. But was it the plaid? Or was it just like, I think she had like some sort of bow that was plaid. Maybe that's where I got it from. But people are saying that there was, possible reason was many costumes and parody videos used a plaid skirt, which may have led to the collective false memory. I'm not sure. I honestly don't know with that one. I could have sworn it was plaid, but the more you think about these things, the more you question yourself and your sanity, and you just go, what? Maybe that's not right. But this next Mandela effect, let me know what you remember. Sorry, I'm joking to death. Let me know if you remember the plaid skirt or the black skirt. But I'm not sure. It's fuzzy for me. And that's like, I feel like that's how it works. It's sometimes with these Mandela effects, like you remember something, and then the more you look at the way that it is now, it starts to fade, which is how this one is. But I could have sworn it was plaid. But the one that I clearly remember, and I had no idea wasn't the case until I saw this on a TikTok about Mandela effects. And that was that I always thought that I knew, I'm not going to say I thought, I knew that two of the Boyz II Men members, Nathan and Wanye, were cousins. I remember them telling stories about going over to like an aunt's house or something and like having Thanksgiving. I remember stories being told on VH1 about them being family. And then I saw on this TikTok video that wasn't true. They aren't cousins at all. And I was like, excuse me? Because I remember them sure as heck being cousins, but they're not related at all. So it says that, yes, there's a Mandela effect surrounding two members of Boyz II Men and that they are cousins. Many believe that they are related because they have the same last name. But in reality, they're not cousins at all. Why do people think that they're cousins? The shared last name, obviously, or their close bond, often referring to each other as brothers. No, cousins, man. They were cousins. And like I said, I never would have thought otherwise until I saw that Mandela effect saying that they weren't cousins. And that was the same thread that talked about the Macarena music video being different. So I specifically remember them telling stories about being at like an aunt's house or something together because they were family and they were talking about their family together. But that apparently is not something that ever occurred. I don't know, because I loved them and I remember them being cousins. Don't know how they're not. But it said that boys and men met at a Philadelphia high school for the creative and performing arts and bonded over their love of music. While their brotherly camaraderie is genuine, there is no familial relationship between Nathan and Wanye or any other members of the group. So, I think that's how you, Wanye? Yeah, I think that's how you say his name. But I swear that they were cousins. You can't tell me otherwise. I mean, technically you can. You can tell me whatever you want. Online, apparently, they're not. But I remember being a kid knowing that they were cousins, and I thought that was really cool. But they're not. So, again, I don't know why things are different. And that's something really, really weird to have be incorrect or have me misremember, because I had a pretty good memory as a kid. So to have that be something incorrect and have it not change somehow, like that's really weird for me. That's one that I have a really hard time letting go of, like the Berenstain Bears. And then I want to revisit a Mandela effect from before that it did in an earlier episode, which was the Looney Tunes. So remember, Looney Tunes in this world, timeline, whatever you want to say, like people just believe that it's others misremembering things. I have my own theories. We're not going to get into those, but it's super weird. But with Looney Tunes, how it's TUNES, which doesn't make sense, again, because they're not musical in any way. They're cartoons. They're crazy cartoons. So why is it musical? And the other day, I randomly came across something. I don't remember what it was, but it jogged this memory, like Looney Tunes, spelled that way, but then the show with them being younger or Tiny Toons. You want to take a guess how Tiny Toons is spelled? You would think that if Looney Tunes is spelled with the TUNES, that Tiny Toons would be spelled tiny, then TUNES as well, right? It's not. It's TOONS. So why is it Tiny Toons but Looney Tunes? I mean, I don't understand. When stuff like that, when the logic doesn't match with stuff like that, it makes me question everything. But I just, you know what I mean? I don't quite understand how it's Looney Tunes, but then it's Tiny Toons. So if you remember both of them being TOONS, let me know. Because I sure as heck remember that being that way. And that's what makes the most sense, especially seeing Tiny Toons. So those are a few of the Mandela effects. They were all 90s related. You know, Tiny Toons is around in the 90s as well. But I want to hear from you guys. What were your favorite music videos from the 90s that you remember, that you always, whenever you hear that song, you flash back to that music video? Because I know there's some. I always think of Alanis Morissette's, songs, like when she's driving in the car with her multiple personalities, or Jewel in the bathroom when she's singing like How to Save Your Soul. All these different, you can't help but think about the music video when you hear some of these songs. So let me know your favorites, even if or let me know what you thought was the worst music video in the 90s, that whenever you think of that song, you think of this music video and you're like, oh my gosh. Just let me know. You can contact me through Instagram It's the Hodgy Podgy Pod. You can find me there. Same with Facebook, or you can do the Hodgy Podgy Pod at Gmail is my Gmail. Please connect with me. Share this podcast. I'm trying to get it to grow bigger. I know I'm only 12 episodes in, but I really want to reach as many people as I can. Help brighten up their Mondays with Menagerie Mondays, brighten up their weeks, help them with Therapy Thursdays, and really help anybody that's struggling with things going on in their life. I'm just here to connect with you guys, to help spread a little bit of joy, spread a little bit of laughter and craziness, and share my own childhood and my own life here, so you know that your craziness and childhood stuff, you don't have to go through all of that craziness by yourself or go through it alone. I am right here with you going on this roller coaster as well. So please DM me, message me, email me. I want to comment on any of my posts about the videos, and subscribe, and share. And I will see you guys on the next episode of the Hodgy Podgy Podcast. Thanks, guys.